Hi, Rebecca.
Hey, Rachel.
How's it
Hey.
going?
It's
How's it
going.
going, Facebook land?
Hey, Facebookers. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome to the Rachel and Rebecca show.
Here we are. What? Get ready.
I'm so glad to be here with you today.
Me too. Thank you for inviting me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling very apprehensive and courageous and nervous and all the things because this is my first time. Thank you for popping my Facebook Live cherry.
You're welcome. I think we have to do it eventually. I mean, especially in the line of work that we're going into. It definitely is a must.
Yeah.
So, Rebecca, tell me how you wanted to become a coach. Like, tell me what your process is of going from, I'm Rebecca, and now I want to be a coach.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big question. I really feel like my whole life has prepared me to be a coach. When I was little, my idea was to become a doctor, become a researcher specifically. I've always been fascinated by science and learning new things, has come easy for me. And I thought, this is a big way for me to help people relieve their suffering and impact the world, was to become a prominent research doctor, professor. And I realized that as I got older, I had a lot of kind of unresolved emotional trauma, as many of us do from childhood. And I wasn't taught, I wasn't given those skills to deal with my mind and deal with my emotions. And so in college, one of the major turning points in my life was I discovered meditation. And that really brought a whole new dynamic into my life. I started delving into this kind of apparent schism between, science and spirituality, and recognized that it was just like two sides of the same coin. And but just how in the world, it didn't make sense to me that they were seen as separate. In my heart, they've always been one thing. And so for a long time, that was my focus, was just researching all things spiritual. I got into Eastern philosophy and, just took time to get to know myself. I was a psychology major, philosophy minor, and that focus on healing my own trauma and looking at what can I do to take my own power back. I was on antidepressants, I was suicidal, and no one around me knew it except the people really close to me. And so it was like just absorbing all of these tools for years and years, for about a good decade, actually, working with therapists. And then at one point I did work with a life coach about 6 years ago. And that was a huge turning point for me as well. She taught me something called parts work, which I describe as like NVC with yourself, if you know anything about like nonviolent communication and how to parent your own parts. And that really changed my life. That opened my eyes to, in addition to all the other tools, to a new way of relating with myself. And so it took actually a whole decade, learning about meditation and doing parts work and all of that, to understand sort of my own shame and where it came from. And, I was really angry. Like I was just really angry and in a lot of despair at the world around me, and that like everyone seemed like, grown children, like no one really had answers. And I never really felt supported. I felt like it was always on me, and I felt very alone. And there's a quote actually that I remember hearing a long time ago: depression is anger turned inward. And that was me for a long time, just so confused, and doubting myself, and just full of self-hatred really for a long time. but again, like on the outside, you know, on the surface, I was functioning, you know, I was able to get straight A's through college and graduate magna cum laude. And I had a successful business, you know, helping healing professionals, for a few years. But I realized, you know, that I wasn't living my purpose. I wasn't living my passion. I was meant for really big things, and I didn't know what those were. Mm-hmm. And I've had lots of visions and like, you know, like seeing myself on stage and things like that, that still to this day, right? Like even right now doing this, I'm super terrified by it, but I know what my potential is, and I've always felt that. And I know that my calling is in the unification and the remembering really of science and spirit as one, really. And so, you know, I took the time to get myself off antidepressants, to eat a whole foods diet, to, you know, really look at my mindsets and actually change the ways I was thinking, and like start to change my own neuropsychology. And another big turning point was, you know, forgiving my parents, forgiving the people around me that caused trauma, you know, or that I perceived them to cause trauma, and reframing my story, you know, and starting to write a new story. And that really started to happen about a year ago, where I was in another really, really deep, dark place. And I woke up after like not eating or drinking for like 24 hours. And I was like, I can't do this to myself anymore. Like just the fact that I'm still alive. Right. And I haven't offed myself yet. Like that fact alone, that I have worth, I have value, I have purpose, and I'm meant to hold myself to that vision, you know, and take responsibility and go after it. And so then I was able to sort of relax and just, you know, kind of be with myself and like do self-care and like do all the things that I knew to do, to just take my time, because I put a lot of pressure on myself to figure it out. And so then like about a year ago, that release actually, I think, well, I moved cross country and actually overseas, and was able to just take a step back. And that's when HCI fell in my lap. And I like saw it on Facebook one day. I wasn't even looking for coaching. I was taking some other online classes in NLP, and I was going to actually go to school to become a hypnotherapist, and was going down that path. And then I saw HCI, and I was like, that's it. Like the integrity with this program and the heart warrior mentality, just all of it. Just, I was like, I can't, like, I just do it. I just felt it, you know, I can't not do this. And it's been the same ever since that decision. Like I was all in from day one, and which is rare for me. Like I'm very cautious. I'm not a risk-taking person. I take my time to make decisions. But when I had that first call with my clarity coach, with Health Coach Institute, I just knew this is it. Like, and it's time. It's time. Because I thought about coaching years ago, or becoming a therapist. And I always distanced myself from it because of my own pain. But now I know that because of my own pain, I am able to really be present and help others. So.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that story, and how amazing your journey has been from where you have come from to where you are now, and being able to step outside of your pain and your shame and your hurt, and stepping into this new Rebecca that you're creating, this freedom that you're living in from the pain and the depression. And how beautiful is that? That is absolutely probably one of the most amazing things that you can do as a human, that being able to be a part of something much greater than ourselves, and belonging to a tribe, and, you know, holding your truth to whatever it is, and being able to, you know, be live on Facebook and be able to share your story. Because this is one of the reasons why I want to do this. What if there's someone out there that has a story that's like yours?
Yeah.
You can help them. And that's the whole point of all of this, is that we as coaches want to help people. That's what we're put on this earth to do, is to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think about whenever I was in the throes of despair years ago, and like watching other people tell their story in a very similar way that I'm telling mine, and think, oh gosh, you know, like I feel helpless and hopeless, but you know, if they can do it, and if they've been through all that, like maybe there's a glimmer of hope. Maybe like actually I can transform myself. Right. And so that's what I think, that's what humans are here for, is to uplift and inspire and support one another. To become our best selves. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I also think too, like, what was the purpose of us being here on this earth? You know, we didn't just accidentally get created. We're here and created for a purpose. And if we can't live our full self on this earth, then what is the point of us even being here? So, you know, we are all called in some way to be on this earth and finding our purpose. And, you know, and it's just listening to God and just allowing that to filter in and go where we are called, and, you know, feel the need that needs to be needed, and, you know, feel the pain of those that we are supposed to help.
Yes.
And it's like so awe-inspiring to me to like be on this journey too. I mean, to be able to walk this path and this journey with you and all of the other tribe members that are in our cohort, and even the ones that we met at HCI, like that aren't in our cohort, and, you know, people that are going before us and then coming after us and uniting on that front.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I love seeing everyone's journey, how, you know, everyone has like their own unique version, their own unique story, but the kernels are the same. They're the same thing. You know, we want love, safety, belonging, right? We want connection, you know, and we want to grow, we want to expand. And yes, that is what we're here for. And so when we can bring it to that level, then it's just like, you know, we can relax into just being these flawed humans, you know, perfectly imperfect, just like going about the world and doing our thing and bumping up against one another, but like we're all in it together, you know?
Yeah. For sure. So tell me about your experience so far with HCI. Like, kind of walk me through some of that process of like being a part of HCI and what that looks like for you.
Yeah. So gosh, Health Coach Institute is one of the most integrous, loving institutions, organizations that I'm aware of, in a very real, authentic way. So I have been super impressed with the content. And I have high standards. Like, I'm a pretty, you know, picky person when it comes to the world of self-help, you know, holistic health, healing. You know, I've been in this industry as a business professional on the sidelines, kind of with working with healers for, you know, 8-10 years now, and doing my own self-work. So I feel like I have a lot of experience, and I know I can kind of sniff out, you know, where people are coming from, and like anyway, so Carrie and Stacy and just their whole team, you know, Eric Nooner and Bill Barron, are just all the most down to earth, real people. And it shows, like, it shines, you know. And I just, every week I am just like floored by the content. Because it speaks to my heart. It's things that I have already sort of learned or processed myself, but they're perennial, you know. There's always layers to our growth, right? And so these are truths that, you know, we return to over and over and over, and they give us gems and gifts every time we come back to them. And just the presence and the pace, you know. I feel like one thing that really stands out is the idea of like slowing down, which is present throughout all of the pillars, right? And this idea that how we do one thing is how we do everything. And if we're just sort of running through life and not present to ourselves, not present to our bodies and our feelings and our thoughts, and not present to our relationships, like, we're totally missing the joy of life, you know? And so that integrity shines through, and then that idea of really being present and taking your time shines through. And it's just, and then HCI Live, right? And that it's free.
Yeah.
They just like throw this party for everyone, you know. And we just show up, and there's like 1,000 coaches, you know, at all different stages of their journey. Some have been coaching for, you know, 20, 30 years. Some are brand new. They just signed up last week. And everyone in between. And we all get to know each other and practice coaching and have a party and learn a bunch of really intense, like, you know, important truths about ourselves, breakthroughs. It's powerful.
Yeah, HCI was pretty intense for me. There were so many things that I knew that were specifically lined up for me that I knew. I mean, you and I were standing in line waiting to register, and a success coach walks up to us, and she has a very similar story from her childhood that I have. And I'm like bawling in line thinking about, like, I mean, this doesn't happen. Like, these things don't just happen. They are definitely in line with whatever you know, you're being called to. And so it just kind of, for me, was like a confirmation of all the things that I've done in order to get to where I'm at. This is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly what I need to be doing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and the event hadn't even started yet at that point. We were just like registering.
Yeah, no, we didn't, because we were like, this is the first time we've ever been to these things. We didn't really know anything of what was going to be happening. And then all of a sudden, this lady just comes up to us, and she's like introducing herself. And then literally 5 seconds later, she's sharing her story, and I'm sharing my story, and I'm crying, and she's crying. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yes. Just how powerful that is to say yes, right, to our hearts, to say yes to our desire. And what that does is it becomes like a magnet. You know, we become these magnets for exactly what we need and for what others need. And then there's no shame in being vulnerable and in sharing our story.
Yeah.
You know, because we know that however it comes out and whatever happens is exactly how it's supposed to happen at that time.
Yeah.
It's exactly whatever we need or that person needs, you know.
We just have to be open for the opportunities.
Yes, and trust.
Yeah.
Surrender and trust the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of HCI?
HCI Live in particular, or just the whole?
No, I'm sorry. HCI Live. I'm sorry. I wasn't clear.
Okay. That's tough. That is tough, Rachel. Gosh, so many moments. I mean, I'm just going to go through the moments. I can't pick one. Yeah. The dress to express, right? Instead of the dress to impress. I love it. So like wear whatever you want to the party. Pajamas, totally fine. I loved Eric Nooner and his kids when they sang Human by The Killers.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That song. And I'm going to learn how to play it on ukulele.
Woo! Go for you. Good for you.
Yeah. And just like, you know, a perfectly imperfect performance, you know, from the heart. I loved the exercises that all four of them did. You know, each, Carrie, Stacey, Eric, and Bill had us do very in-depth experiential exercises.
Yeah.
And one in particular, it was about forgiveness and letting go of something about, there was like something that someone told you from the past that you've been carrying around as a belief. That was one of my breakthroughs.
That was one of mine as well.
And writing down their name and then like tearing up the paper.
Yeah, and throwing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cried my way through that whole exercise, and thank God I had waterproof mascara.
Right.
I don't wear any makeup, but I gotta wear my mascara on. But Lord, oh my goodness, like, yeah, there were so many moments of breakthrough for me, and especially I think the number one thing was forgiveness. Like, we don't realize how forgiveness can really impact our lives, and extending that to those that, you know, you don't ever have to tell the people that you forgive them, because it's really, the forgiveness is for yourself. And only if you are led to share that forgiveness or extend that forgiveness do you ever have to do that. But, you know, we have to do it for our own growth and our own journey in order to move forward. Because if we stay in this hurtful place, we don't grow and we don't move forward. And so without growth, we're stuck, we're stagnant. And sorry, there's a fly.
He's loving you up.
Yeah. By the way, this is just real. So, you know, it's all good.
Exactly.
So part of it is if we don't step into this new freedom of forgiveness, we don't step forward and we don't move forward until we realize that we have to come out of this hurt place and actually give the hurt up and walk in the freedom of it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
we could go off on a whole other.
I know.
Right there, Rachel. I almost did.
Stay tuned for Rachel and Rebecca Real Talk.
Right. Forgiveness. Mm-hmm.
That will definitely be a part of the subject.
Huge.
So why don't you talk about a little bit of our HCI community? Like, let's talk about them. Let's talk about our tribe.
Our tribe. Love you guys. I love you, all of you.
Actually, what?
Yes.
Heart in a whoosh.
The community. So what I really appreciate having had from the very beginning is what Carrie and Stacy call the judgment-free zone. Yes. So whenever they do coaching demos, they always start with sort of like ground rules or guidelines, right? Like to set the container and say, this is a safe place for you to come and just really be authentic and vulnerable. And that's the container that we're in all the time, right? Like in our Facebook group or when we do our skills labs, it's understood that this is a judgment-free zone. And of course we're human. So like we're going to judge. So it does come up, but it's more so just this knowingness that like these people, you know, are on my side, even if they totally disagree with me. Right. Because there's a lot of different frameworks and paradigms that everybody, I mean, we have people international, you know, people from all different walks of life coming in with their different mindsets and paradigms. But yet we still are united around our values, you know, and one of those being just having a judgment-free zone. And like, I think the other thing, I mean, besides the encouragement, like everyone's always so encouraging and just super supportive. You know, I've gone to our tribe and have presented questions and issues, problems that have come up, and everyone's just like, you got this, and oh, did you think about that? And, you know, just very engaged, you know, very engaged and committed to that engagement, that connection. And the other thing is that, especially you, Rachel, I have you to thank for this, is that, you know, like I'm called on my shit. I'm called on my shit. And I love that. I love calling other people on their shit too, you know, and I feel like we need that, right? Again, in a non-judgmental way, in a very gentle, compassionate way, like, hey, you know, did you think about this? Or, you know, whatever it is, just knowing that it's coming from a place of love and from a place of like, I know that you can be the best version, and that, you know, maybe you're really playing down your skills or your strengths, you know, maybe you're being too hard on yourself, and just like reflecting my light back to me over and over, and me doing that to them, you know. So I have so much gratitude. I think that's probably one of the biggest, most impactful things that I've experienced with HCI and with BHC is the community, the support.
Yeah. When I signed up for HCI, which is Health Coach Institute for anyone that we're using acronyms, but when I signed up with Health Coach Institute, I didn't realize the magnitude of the tribe. We also have the largest class cohort, which is absolutely, I know,
August
it's actually
2019.
it's like absolutely amazing that we have these people that are connected to us, and we all come from all kinds of lives, like religions, viewpoints, backgrounds, all of it. And I think what is so beautiful is that we all have common ground, and that is love. And we come from a place of love. And because we do that, you know, the judgment isn't, you know, extended, or, you know, like we're not quick to like go, like come from a hurtful place either, because the love is there, which I think is huge. And, you know, the acceptance that comes within all of us being together, and we all just want to help people. That's the other root of it, is that we all just want to help people in whatever niche that we choose. And each one of us has a unique niche. Not everyone has the same niche that they want to help people in. So, which I think, you know, obviously we're all unique human beings, so we all can't be the same. We all can't help the same people. So in that, you know, it's such a beautiful thing to look from, especially like if I was just an outsider looking at these people and showing up at HCI Live, or like showed up in the Facebook group, like you would think these people knew each other for years.
Yes. And that's how it feels too.
Yeah.
I mean, not with every single person, but there's just this vibration of, I know you, I got you.
Yeah.
We get it, you know?
Yeah. How incredible.
Oh my gosh. Unlike anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Rebecca, what are your future plans?
Ooh. So, I loved yesterday your live with Marwin whenever he was like, so yeah, I kind of like have plans and goals, but you know, I take it day by day, moment by moment, go with the flow. And I was like, yep, that's me. Because I used to put a lot of pressure on myself, right? Like I've always been my own worst critic, and like, you know, you're not doing enough, and you need to do this, and that to be good enough, and to do, you know, all the things you want to do. And so I've really taken a lot of pressure off myself the past couple of years in particular. So yeah, I have visions, I have goals, but I'm also learning to be in the flow. So right now I am honing my craft, right? Like I'm learning to be a badass coach. And so with that, I'm building my one-on-one practice. Basically, that's my focus now. And probably for the next year at least, you know, that will just be what I'm doing. But like I mentioned earlier, right, like I've had visions of myself being on stage, speaking to groups. So I am really interested in group work, and specifically doing like workshops and even live retreats, having a retreat center on a piece of land, and having like a community of sorts, maybe a homestead, something like that on that land. That's been a dream of mine for a very long time. And part of me is like totally terrified to like step into that, you know, what does all that mean and come with? And so, but it's just one step at a time, you know? But yeah, I do imagine working with groups and affecting change at kind of a larger scale than just one-on-one, but one-on-one is the foundation for sure. And then writing, I love to write. And so I've thought about, you know, maybe I'll write a book, or maybe I'll write something someday. You know, I don't know what that looks like, but those are the bigger visions for right now.
Yeah. I'm glad you can write. I can't.
That's why you're doing the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I can totally be on like video, no problem.
Absolutely.
Do you have an ideal client yet, or do you have some kind of focus? Like, even if it's like semi-general, like, do you have someone that you could potentially help right now, or you don't have that honed in yet? Tell me what's going on there.
So yeah, so niching is a big thing in the coaching world. It's like a hot topic, right? It never goes away. Like it's this thing. And for me, I'm still looking at that and processing that and honing in the language around like, who's my ideal client? How do I want to market myself? And who can I help? But really, I think niches for a large degree is about where I'm at as a
Right.
person, as an individual in my life.
Right.
So that would mean, people who feel that they, for whatever reason, have not been able to be authentic, right? To get into touch with their inner wisdom, their inner world and inner workings, to take back their power via taking personal responsibility, getting to know what are their values and getting in line with those values, so that they can make empowered choices coming out of that place, right? So anyone feeling like they aren't motivated, they don't have a purpose, they don't know why they're existing, or maybe they have a vague idea, but they don't know how, right? They don't know what to do. That was me for a very long time. Emotional intelligence, anyone looking to deepen their connection and relationship with themselves and with others. Relationships are the foundation of living, of life. And to me, that's like a very broad group of people, right? Like it's not specifically honed in. So I'm working on it.
That's awesome. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I think one of the things that I extremely appreciate about you is your authenticity, and like, you don't care what people necessarily think of you. And I see that as a good thing. Like, it's not like you're brass or like chaotic in that, but just that you are who you are, and those that are drawn to you are extremely drawn to you, and your energies match up. And like, you've already had some amazing things happen to you that like I can't even explain. People connecting with you and having some pretty phenomenal things happen to further your career as a coach. So I say that as like your authenticity shines, and whoever you are as a person is being reached out to those that need to reach to you. And I see huge, huge things for you.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. So do you have any last few things before we step off here?
I do want to clarify. So a part of me very much does care what other people think.
Yeah.
There's that little critter brain part, or that like wounded little girl, right? Who's like, no, like, it's not safe to be me, this world is crazy. And because I've been hurt and traumatized in the past when I've been myself. Yeah. And so, won't that happen again? And so there's definitely still that part there. And there is this other part of this wise adult, who just is full of gratitude and unconditional love, and just devoted to being this force in the world, right? And yes, having the strength and courage to let that light shine, that then draws in the people that need my service, right? So it's both. I just, I love that. It's like the Tao, that both and paradigm is something that I hold true to myself. Very rarely is it either or, black and white. So,
which comes from the healthy version of yourself.
The both and does.
Yeah.
Right. Because it can zoom out and step back and see the whole thing.
Right. And it's not paying attention to just the one side versus the other side, and that both of them come together and can communicate together.
Yes. Oh, I love talking with you, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me on. I hope this is helpful out there. in whatever way, just see a little bit of inside of what coaches do and where we come from on our journey and why we're here and why we're so damn on fire and passionate about coaching.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest reason why I want to coach someone is because I've seen like you, the side of it, of the coaching that is beneficial. And my life has been extremely transformed because of that in the migraines that I used to have. And so if I had not had Anthony Coco out of the MINT protocol that I was in, I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, I feel like I would be somewhat like moving forward, and because I was already on that path before I got into the migraine protocol. But like, really and truly having someone walk alongside you and guide you through the healing process of things that you need to heal from, and being able to heal your body naturally is absolutely huge, because our bodies were made to heal, period. Our bodies we're not made to take a Band-Aid. So ultimately, like, our process, like, there are people that need to take medication. I know, it's so does. There are people that need to take medication, and I'm not minimizing that. What I'm saying is that this is something that my body can heal from. Yeah. Mental illness is not something that you can do all on your own without help, without doctor's advice, without therapists, without things involved. So please this is my disclaimer, don't take me as like you can heal your body on your own. You have to have people walking alongside you. And I had someone walking alongside me, and so that's why I didn't have to take migraine meds. That's why I am where I am today, because of his mentorship and his vision for helping people heal their bodies from migraine. So
yes, I would love to do a whole episode just on that, just on the complementary relationship, right, that coaching has with things like therapy and allopathic medicine, because like you mentioned, I was on antidepressants, and there's a whole story around that, right? And like, sometimes it is very necessary. Like, I think it saved my life. I think that certain psychedelic plant medicines also have saved my life at certain times. Right.
Right.
And so, and then, being with a coach and being in therapy, and it's all the things, right? There's this whole toolbox, and how do they all kind of work together, and how does one navigate that and figure out what's best for them? And that's a whole other conversation
I know
to have with you.
I know. And like I said earlier, before, Rebecca and I are actually starting a YouTube channel. She's freaked out. I'm not.
The Rachel and Rebecca show.
Yeah. Because we just feel like there's topics out there that, coming from my background and coming from her background, that need to be talked about. And a lot of things are being shoved underneath the rug, and we just really want to get awareness around these topics, so that way people stop running from them. People stop hiding from themselves and numbing themselves in order to feel okay in this world. So that's kind of our vision behind starting this YouTube channel, and like sharing the love and the awareness around it.
Yes. Stay tuned.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Facebook land. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you coming alongside us, and much love.
I would like to add, I'm at Naked Heart Life on Facebook.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
It's all good. I'm at Naked Heart Life. And I actually I'm going to throw the link in the comments for people if they want to schedule a discovery session with me. I've got maybe 20 or so over the next month available, so people can schedule that with me if they'd like to just, see how it might be to work with me as a coach.
I'm also going to share her page onto my Facebook page and share her on Instagram as well. So
yay. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you, Rachel. Thank you
My
so much.
pleasure.
I'm so excited.
My pleasure.